Welcome to the Brilliant and Descriptive News Show, where today we will be having our literature portion with our very good friend, Wordsy Werthers. Hey, Wordsy, how's it going? So yeah, indeed, thank you very much, Fritz, for having me on the show. So yes, indeed, the book that we're going to be looking over today is A Long Way Gone, Memoirs of a Boy Soldier, by Ishmael Bia. It's a really great one. Suggest you pick it up if you can. And in fact, I've created a bit of the literary devices, just showing a bunch of the book in just a single part. It's a really strong part, a thesis, if you will. Oh, really? Well, then let's hear it. That is why I came here, after all. In fact, so based on the jam-packed, just full of the meaning of this book, pages 18 and 19, what I came up with is the book A Long Way Gone by Ishmael Bia shows the struggle to regain one's humanity through a disturbed tone, personification, and symbolism. Although that does sound quite brilliant, it's not quite descriptive enough. Could you give us more in-depth detail, like specifics, on exactly what you're talking about? Okay, no problem. I shall begin with the disturbed tone, as not only was it the first part of the thesis statement, but also sets the overall feeling for the passage. The first really good piece of evidence I got for this was on page 19, when Ishmael is describing his group, Indepth. It goes as this. I saw myself holding a AK-47 walking through a coffee farm with a squad that consisted of many boys and few adults. From this we can infer two things. One, that most of the adults have probably been wiped out or just aren't on the battlefield, and two, the children are in fact going into battle. So that makes two things that involve psychological scarring. One, children without parents usually end up to lead quite aggressive lives, and from that, they will probably not fit well into society, which will involve losing their humanity and then having to regain it, in the case of Ishmael. Second is the fact that they will end up most likely getting PTSD on the battlefield because it's generally dangerous, and they will probably view all the carnage and whatnot going on around them. And later on that page, yet another very good piece to show this disturbed tone, also on page 19, is that he has another run with the group, and it goes as this. As we left the coffee farm, we unexpectedly ran into another armed group on a soccer field adjoining the ruins of what has once been a village. We opened fire until the last living being of the other group fell to the ground. We walked toward the dead bodies, giving each other high fives. And as we most know, for the most part, probably, is that the regular person wouldn't react in such a way. They'd at least feel some kind of guilt. So this shows that, yet again, the children have lost their humanities in one way or another, and through that they will continue to act like this until they're able to be rehabilitated or die. So from this, I guess I could infer that personification will be the next topic that you discuss. So yes, I have two very good examples of personification, both happening to be on page 19 of this passage, with the first one being quotes from both when he's in his dream and right after he wakes up. The one from his dream is, "My body begins to ache and I can't lift a foot without feeling a rush of pain from my toes to my spine." And after he wakes up, it's, "A piercing pain ran through my spine." And from this, one can infer that either he's felt so much pain and been through so much suffering that he's been able to take the pain without realizing it until he wakes up, or that the pain from his dreams actually starting to rush in and he can no longer grab hold of what's reality unless it's just stuck in this state of violence, which continues to be supported by the other form of personification when he says, "I shut racked my body and I tried to think about my new life in New York City, where I had been for over a month. But my mind wandered across the Atlantic back to Sierra Leone." So from this, you can say that he can never quite forget the memories he's had. He cannot forget what happened to him in a way. So from this, it's kind of ingrained into him that although he's in New York, he hasn't fully regained his former self. He needs to work to do that. So I see you got a little bag there. Is that for the symbolism portion that's going to be next? Yes, and in fact, I brought some props of my own to show the symbolism. The first one being the sneakers, or as they call it in the book, crepes. There's transcribed right here on page 18. He says, I turn my face to the ground to look at my feet. My tattered crepes are soaked with blood, which seems to be running down my army shorts. Although these crepes were, as you'll find out later, not quite given out as they were, as I shall describe in the beginning, the nevertheless kind of describe in a way the destroyed but still existing innocence of Ishmael. It's been, bloodied, it's been torn beyond compare, but it's still there in a way. And the other one, of course, also being on page 18, is, I feel no physical pain, so I'm not sure whether I've been wounded. I can feel the warmth of my AK-47's barrel on my back. I don't remember when I last fired it. The AK-47 is kind of a feeling of warmth he gets, you know what I mean? He has it kind of gives him a family feeling, like it's togetherness. It's the closest thing that he has at that point, and it's the only thing that was keeping him alive. So you've been kind of upping this passage in a way. You've been making it look like it's a miracle passage. Other than the few parts in the book that you've connected it to, how does this connect to the book as a whole? Well, you see, although this passage is only 2 pages, it gets us ready for a lot of stuff that's going to happen later. From all the PTSD that he'll go through to the death and destruction that he'll witness, which will make it all the more satisfying when he regains his humanity over time and rehabilitates. And Wordy, we can never thank you so much for being here, and we hope to see you next week, and even you next week, on the Brilliant and Descriptive News Show!